This is a 1996 Ranger Cherokee 107 aluminum bass boat. The Cherokee 107 measured in at 17 feet right on the nose and was 72 inches wide at the bow with a maximum horsepower rating of 75 horsepower. Ranger Boat Company was founded in 1968 by the legendary Forrest Wood and his wife Nina. After its inception, Ranger Bass Boats quickly became one of the most popular fiberglass bass boat brands the industry has ever seen.
Yep, there it goes.
You want to run up the Gainesville Dam?
Let's do it! Making them long run!
The Cherokee Aluminum Series was Ranger's first foray into the aluminum world in the mid-90s, and they stopped producing this model in 2002. This Cherokee 107 sports teal green carpet with a white painted hull and matching teal and black graphics. One of the special built-in features of this 107, a built-in turkey call on the steering wheel. The Cherokee 107 had 5 storage compartments, 2 located under this driver and passenger seat, a forward live well and a rear live well, a rod locker, and even had a place for your minnow bucket right in front of the console. The Ranger 107 is perfect for my guest today, Mr. Jordan Lee, who spends his time making a living bass fishing on the front of his Ranger bass boat. I'm Luke Duncan, and this is Boats and Pros. Going to pick up the champ, Mr. Jordan Lee, and see what he thinks about our ride today. I can't wait.
Riding dirty.
Yeah.
What is going on?
You ain't never seen any goodness like this, buddy.
Hey, that's balling.
This is balling.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you,
I'm
buddy.
telling you.
What do you
God,
think? I mean,
is this suede?
this is suede. Yeah, it's that's actually, I think it's Puma fur. I think, pretty sure. The only thing
Custom light, too.
It does have this custom light. It's not a TS Spring light, I don't think, but it's got this one right here. Somebody's getting too close to your fishing hole when you're not fishing at Derby down at Katoma. Flip that sucker on.
Put it
the
on.
only sketchy part about it is this right here. This is not an extended flipping deck. I think that's for your
easy access.
minnow bucket. It's for your minnow.
Yeah, it
minnow
is for
bucket.
your minnows.
I like that. This would be a minnow drowning rig right here.
I mean, it's got rigged up some dope depth finders.
Yeah, I don't know where the graphs are, but
Hey,
we ain't gonna be side scanning none today.
No, we ain't gonna be scanning nothing. This thing's sweet.
Oh, I want it. It does have a plug in it.
Oh,
we got to put it in.
yeah.
You got your motor toter, and like the last boat we had, it's got this whale tail, and that's for ultimate performance.
It is performance.
Ultimate performance. Got
Jumping
your
up
bungee
on pad.
Yeah. Son, I could jump over some beaver dams with this thing, I bet. John Cox ain't got nothing on this boat.
He ain't got nothing on this boat.
He ain't got nothing on this boat.
This is the OG
And this
John
one came
Cox
from
boat.
Canton, Illinois, too, so you know it's good.
Illinois,
you know it's good.
that's key.
That's key. That's key. And I mean, it's already got these spotlights on it, so
You might as well buy it just because of that.
that's key.
That
Spotlights.
deep hole design.
It looks like, you know those river boats they run on the White River?
Yeah,
that are real
it
narrow?
does look like
That's
that.
what it looks like to me. Put
Hey,
a
it's
jet
freaking
drive on
awesome.
that, buddy. This is the best part here is this is really attached. That is some transducer
That is.
mountain
That's some
right there.
gold. I don't know what they got a little.
It's a shim.
It is.
I mean, they got a shim, you know. They were out there trying to see them and decided it needed to be a different angle, so they shimmed it up.
It doesn't have any interference with that setup.
Nothing at all.
No.
Nothing at all. And I'm going to bet there's been a crop here too.
Prop looks good. Prop actually really does look good. It looks like the original prop on
It
there.
does look like the original prop. Chill crank.
Oh yeah, she's
Chill
good.
crank.
That's
I put some
amazing.
gas in. Oh, Black Maxer.
Aluminum.
And I don't know if they.
So this is a piece of history.
This is a piece of it. That's why I wanted it.
It's the first. I mean, it is the first Ranger
The first
aluminum.
Ranger aluminum boat. It's a '96. It's the first year they made one.
Dang,
Yep.
that's impressive.
It's a classic.
It is a classic.
All righty. Horse is in the bag. Look at that. I think we're dragging it. I mean, yeah, you'd think it'd have like another clamp somewhere that would go on. I mean, that's pretty genius.
I don't know what this is that a cotter pin? It's sweet. Yeah, I'll walk it back to the truck.
If I had a rope, we could tie up.
We're gonna walk it back at least a halfway to the.
What happens when it gets to the water?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, it's going.
Boys, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think that thing's OSHA certified.
You don't think what?
I don't think that's OSHA certified.
No, I don't think so.
Here, I'm gonna see if it'll start real quick before we unhook it, just because of the last Boats and Pros. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. I don't want to flood it.
It's got gas in the in the bowl.
Yeah, I put some in. Squeeze the bulb again. Dadgummit. Yeah, we cranked it in the parking lot yesterday. She fired off. Come on. This is where you need G. He can fix anything.
I know. She's fired.
Feel good about this.
We're going for it. The motor toter's gonna look good, dragging up there. Oh yeah, she's good. That's how you do it. You just lay it over. You ready to roll. Luke Duncan coming to the scales. He's got a 5-ounce limit.
Got him 5 and away. 8 pounds, 6 ounces. He's been in Sugar Creek.
Now, if you're riding that boat, you got 20.
Oh, you got 20. And it's gonna be riding to the side, trust me. This thing's very particular.
Come on, jump.
Good girl.
I caught 15 pounds right there on a pop-bar in like 20 minutes one morning in a tournament.
On that point?
Yeah, down that bank.
Dude, that's a good stretch.
I had nothing, and it was some federation tournament, and it was in June. I was like, there was like a mayfly hatch, and I just literally put my trolling motor down on that point and had 15 pounds by the time I got to that dock. Never caught one the rest of the day.
I feel like you've got a lot of stories like that.
You do. I got a few.
You've got a lot of stories, not just on this river, but like things.
Just stupid stuff.
Well, and I think John Cox is a lot like that. I think that you just have this natural ability, but at the same time, I think you're carefree. Do you ever get worried? Ever?
I do. I mean, but
stress. Do you stress?
I mean, but I may not show it like other people do. But I mean, you know, it's fishing. I don't think I'm as stress-free as John Cox. I mean, that dude's on a different level.
He's totally like, stress-free.
He's like, I threw a backlash. I only got one rod. Oh well. I'll pick it out for an hour and.
Yeah, maybe catch one.
I mean, I'd be like mega pissed.
Final day at Rayburn this week, I was watching the live coverage, and he took a brand new crankbait out of the pack and tied it up because he only had like 2. I said, that's the most John thing ever.
That's unbelievable.
But you do. I remember Sam George told me one time, the year you made the elite chart to Arkansas River.
Yeah.
And Sam's, y'all are waiting to blast off, and he said that you're like, man, I need some new line. And he like grabbed some line out of the compartment. You don't know how long it's been on. You spool it up, and he said your brother Matt was there and was going, oh, he'll catch the winning fish on that today or make the elites on that rod, and you did. Like you caught him flipping that rod with line. You're like, I don't know how long it's been in here. Being out here in an aluminum boat, this is how so many of us started. I started in one. My dad and I had a low that I think actually had bright blue carpet.
Yeah.
That looked like this.
Oh yeah,
green.
That's what my first Ranger was.
Was this green or blue?
It was green. I think it wasn't this color blue. It was a little darker green.
That's crazy. But so you fished a lake called Katoma down outside of Coleman in a little aluminum boat. It's got a horsepower restriction on it. So tell us about like your first, because that's your first true boat, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was my first true boat. I mean, my my parents probably didn't trust me to get anything like this where I would be in big water. I know my mom was worried to death always about me, even in a 9 horsepower. But yeah, I mean, it was just nothing special, little aluminum boat. I think I had one graph on it, and the lake was Lake Katoma. You know, it's a small little, it's the water source for Coleman. And I mean, there's just a lot of big fish in there. So it was a cool place to grow up and fish. And, you know, I got to learn about fishing. I got to learn why bass do certain things. And there's just a lot of fish in it. So, I mean, you're not fishing like on the Ohio River where there's like 2 fish or something, you know.
You're gonna get bites.
Yeah, you're gonna get bites. And so that kind of helped me growing up, just learning about fishing and stuff. But
is that where you fished your first tournament?
Fished my first tournament there. And I vividly remember fishing that first tournament. One of my buddies that I played Little League ball with, he lived on the lake, and he got me into it. He's like, man, you want to fish a tournament? And I'm like, yeah, sounds awesome. I mean, I didn't know really anything about it.
And you already liked fishing, you already liked competition, so.
Yeah, I was, you know, in sports a lot, like all of us were growing up. And so it was just kind of cool to get out there and just, you know, compete. And I was like, man, this is freaking awesome. And remember my first tournament, fish, I think it was a 2-pound spot, nothing special, on a weightless worm, on a Fluger President, all-star rod. I mean, as basic as you can get. And man, that started the fire for me.
For the tournaments?
For the tournaments.
So when did the fishing fire start though? Because it's well documented. Your dad, Doc, is a veterinarian, so you probably had a love for animals early on.
Oh yeah, we always had, I mean, we had crazy animals. I had a pet beaver growing up. I mean,
okay, stop the fishing talk. I want to hear about a pet beaver.
Pet beaver. His name is Bob. Bob the beaver. I mean, we had crazy animals growing up. I mean, we had squirrels in the house. I mean, dude, but the beaver was probably the most. I mean, it literally slept in the bed with me. What? Yeah, it like stayed in the bed. Like, I don't know, you can't make this stuff up. And the only time it would poop would be in the bathtub. It wouldn't use the bathroom. It has to be in water. I bet you didn't know that. That's a fun fact.
That's a fun fact.
Fun fact. If you ever have a pet beaver, it will not poop on the floor or anything.
Okay, was it a rescue or something? Did your dad rescue it? Or?
Yeah, I think somebody brought it in because it had a hurt foot or something like that. So we kept it for like probably a year and then released it back in the wild. But
no kidding.
Bob the beaver, I mean, it was a little thing. I got pictures up. I mean, of course, it was well documented. You know?
I can imagine.
I mean, not everybody has a
Just
pet
think
beaver.
if you had a YouTube channel then.
Oh, God.
You're a sensation.
Yeah.
You don't even need the classic at that point. You're just the kid with the beaver.
The kid, beaver kid.
Beaver kid.
Yeah,
From now on in my life, you're the beaver kid.
That's fine. I'll roll with it.
You're the beef for sure. Unbelievable.
Mr. Beef.
Do you remember your senior prom?
I do remember my senior prom. You know what's funny about that is I didn't go for most of it. I was fishing a weekend series tournament.
I love it.
On Lake Weiss.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I remember I came in 9th place, I think, on that one, 8th or 9th. And I remember rolling up. I didn't have a date or nothing. I remember rolling up like that night, about halfway through it. You know, what's up?
Lee's here.
What's up? You know, and I mean, that was pretty much it.
Was that the 92 Ranger days?
No, I had upgraded by then. I upgraded to a little bit newer Ranger, and you know, so I had a little bit newer ride. We sold the other one because we actually sunk it. That's a whole nother story. But we did. It was tied up to a dock, and the boat had a leak or something in it, and it was basically all underwater. So we had to do some adjusting.
What lake was that on?
That was on Gunnersville.
Sunk at Gunnersville,
yeah.
The Big G.
Yeah.
The Big G sunk a few of them.
It did, and it was tied up that night in the yacht club because that's where my parents had a boat. Anyways, long story short, yeah. We
sunk it.
Sunk it. Straight up, it was tied to the dock, and it was literally all underwater. We woke up the next morning, and everything's like underwater. It's just sitting there just dangling. Yeah, it was pretty horrific.
So that was your first fiberglass boat.
I sunk
proper
it,
marine burial.
I mean, it was done. So,
that's hilarious. An unsinkable boat. You're not supposed to be able to sink it, Ranger.
We did it. We did
it.
Not even driving it either.
Not even driving it. Not in rough conditions, sunk it at the dock.
Yep.
The unsinkable Ranger boat.
I still to this day, I don't think we know how it actually happened, because the plug that was in the boat, but I don't know. We still don't know, I think. It's just a mystery.
It's a mystery. Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo.
So your dad's Doc, but I read last night, I didn't know this, his name is Bruce Lee.
His name is Bruce. Yeah.
And did that get old at any point in life that people thought your dad was a famous Kung Fu fighter?
Anytime we would be like in an airport where they had to read his license, they say, Bruce Lee, karate? Every time. and my mom, her name's Lee, L-E-I-G-H, Lee. So it just doubled it. So yeah, it was every time we went anywhere. I mean, they were always the highlight because their names, and everybody just, I mean, yeah, it was like every time we went out or whatever.
I get Luke Skywalker all the time because my parents named me in the 80s after the Star Wars stuff. And people always think they're the first one to tell you, Luke, I am your father. Like, get it?
Yeah.
Like, no, wait.
I've never heard it.
Dude, you're hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm not offended by it, but you're not the first person to tell me that.
No.
Just like you're not the first to come up to
So next time
Jordan.
you see Luke, you just tell him,
yes,
I'm
your father. Did Doc introduce you to fishing, or was it a granddad? Was it an uncle?
Yeah. So, I mean, my dad didn't fish. He didn't tournament fish or anything like that. But, he grew up on a farm, and my grandfather had a pond. And, he was always stocking that pond with catfish. I mean, we would go out there and have 20 Zebcos laying out there, reeling in catfish. So, I mean, I had a love for fishing. But he put bass in there, and they got big. I mean, there was some, 4 and 5 pound fish in this pond. And I remember the first day going out and catching some big bass, and on a weightless Senko. I mean, that was my thing. I think that was the only thing I knew. But caught, some big fish. I think I put them in a bucket, which I wouldn't suggest that now.
It wasn't catch, weight, release.
No,
then.
It wasn't that.
No, it was about that picture.
Yeah, it was about that picture. And I think I don't even think it wasn't a cell phone picture. It was just like a Kodak moment.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of the memory I remember.
How old are you then, do you think?
I was probably 6th grade.
Okay. What was your degree in from Auburn?
Marketing.
Yeah, marketing degree.
Yep.
Same here. But when do you decide that tournament fishing is going to be the only way you're ever going to make a living?
It was probably in, I don't know, probably 8th grade. I remember started reading like every magazine. At 7th, 8th grade, I mean, I would bring Bassmaster magazine to school, and I'd be reading everything. And I mean, that's when I got like hardcore into it.
Okay.
It was probably 8th grade, and I think 9th grade, around that 8th, 9th grade, I got in a junior club, and it was like the first junior club that was like in the state. I think there was like only 1 or 2.
Really?
And it was Fayette County, so it was in Fayette, Alabama. And I remember, of course, my mom, she was always a big supporter of it. And so when I started, learning about this, she would drive me to Fayette, which was like, I mean, it was like a 2-hour drive from Coleman, to go to like meetings and stuff. And that was my first experience of going out and fishing. And I don't think I could drive yet. And it was that in Katoma, and I just kind of started fishing tournaments then. And it just grew from there. I started fishing as a boater when I was probably 16.
That's awesome.
And 16, 17, and was still fishing the junior stuff. And I was just fishing all kinds of tournaments. Like, I just got into it. I mean, I was just like, did the co-angler stuff for a year, and I'm like, man, let's try it I'm gonna try it as a boater.
Might as well, right?
Yeah. And so it just kind of kept growing and growing, and so that's when I knew that I was like, man, I want to do this.
That's awesome. So when you go to Auburn, there's no doubt in your mind that one way or the other, whatever path you got to take to get there, you're going to be a professional angler.
Yeah.
That's your deal.
And I kind of had I had a knack for it. I mean, I was literally, I think I was 17 years old. I was a senior in high school, and I won the points in the Alabama North as a boater. I mean, I was fishing against some good fishermen, and I was like, I couldn't really believe it, because I didn't know anything about fishing. I mean, I went on.
You were just going fishing.
I was just going fishing, and that's when I kind of knew I had a knack for it. And you know, I saw the college fishing on TV, you know, and I was like, man, that's awesome. I remember the moment of being inside my house watching the college fishing on TV, and I was like, it was Auburn was on there, and I was like, man, that's awesome. I want to do that. And it was new, you know, it wasn't like but ESPN, U or something was doing the college, you know, fishing, and man, I was like, I got to do that.
And
so that was pretty cool.
And you and Matt both get into it. Y'all fished as a team, what, 1 year?
Yeah, 1 year, I believe.
And you fished with Shane?
Yep, Shane Powell.
Yep.
Still friends.
The other times and that,
yep.
And you and Matt end up in that bracket, that famous
bracket.
bracket.
That famous bracket.
Where Matt beat you to go to the Classic, and you actually lost a fish in that.
I did.
To send you to the Classic.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. That was
so brother against brother. For people that don't know, youngins that weren't around paying attention, brother against brother for the Classic.
What's crazy, you know, I've had some big tournament wins, you know, obviously, but people bring that up more.
I'm sure.
Than anything.
It's crazy to think about.
It's crazy to think
about. The odds that could even happen, right?
Yeah, it was wild, and at the time we didn't really know like what that meant and how cool that really was.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
And it was so hard for both of us, and you know,
it's bittersweet. That's what I would think, because you're super proud of your brother, but it's a Classic.
It's a Classic.
Like, you want to go to the Classic.
Yeah, it was tough. It was probably harder on my parents than anything.
I'm sure,
because they knew how much it had been, you know, meant to me
and both
him
of,
too.
Yeah, both of you.
You know, they were so happy but so sad at the same time. It was crazy. Because there's not really anything that's been like that in our sport, where you know, people are going against each other like head to head, and they're brothers, you know,
for the most important tournament of your life at the time.
At the time, yeah.
I mean, but fast forward to the next year, and you start fishing with Shane again, right?
Yeah.
The next year, and end up in the exact same situation again, and the Classic is on none other than the Big G, Guntersville, and you dang near went over there and won it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
On a crazy pattern, and that's when I think the world really woke up to, like, and I mean, of course, I'm paying attention to seeing what you're doing in college, and everybody knows Jordan at that point, if you're keeping up with fishing at all, but dude, you go over there and they're like,
it was crazy.
Uh-oh. And you're doing something polar opposite from what the winners are doing, and you almost pulled it off.
It was crazy.
First one.
It was crazy, yeah, and going back to me and Shane, I mean, we were best friends all through college, and so that was hard, you know. I mean, I knew exactly how he felt too.
Of course.
Shane and I were, I mean, it was the best team partner that I've ever had. You know, we fished so good as a team, and that was, I mean, it was a dream team for real. I mean, like, he knew what I was thinking, and we could do, you know, go out there, and we were always together. Like, whatever we were doing, we were kind of thinking the same thing, and we trusted each other, and it was just awesome, you know, in college. And it was he was the best partner I've had, for sure.
All right, I'm gonna say two names, and I want you to tell me what comes to mind. Okay?
All right, let's hear it.
Van Dam, Clun.
I mean, when those two names pop up, you think the greatest guys to ever fish, to fish tournaments. You know, the legends of the sport. And I mean, those guys, you know, growing up, obviously watching Kevin, you know, dominate, you know, every tournament. I mean, one of my first tournaments to actually spectate in was in 2007. It was on Guntersville Elite Series tournament, and I remember following Kevin that day, and he won that tournament, of course, like he won every single tournament
that year.
Yeah. You know, that's when I was actually in my 92 Ranger following him.
That's awesome.
But I followed him up to Preston that morning, and watching him catch him on his you know, his crankbait that he made famous. And you know, that was my first experience watching Kevin and watching him work. And you know, but you know, fast forward, you know, 10 something years later, you know, they're the only two to win back-to-back classics.
Right.
And you know,
and the only two to win multiple classics. That's where I was going with it, because you can put a third name up there now.
Yep.
And that's yours.
Yep.
It goes Van Dam, Clun, Lee.
Yep. And
that's awesome.
It's awesome. It's awesome to be mentioned in those same, because you don't think of yourself to be in the same presence as those guys, because they've done it for so long and won so many tournaments, and are such big names in the sport.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
legends,
straight up legends. So I'm just a kid. I mean, that's what I think about.
You're 28 years old right now.
Yeah, right now.
So let's get that. All you watching at home, think about that. Let that sink in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's been to 4 classics. He won 2 of them.
Yeah.
And he's one of only 3 people since the inception of the sport to win multiple Bassmasters Classics. And he's not 30 years old yet. I think he just needs to retire.
I mean, I thought about it. I mean, it's like, it's going to go downhill from now.
Well, you do that, and then there's a big change in the industry, and you win the inaugural Bass Pro Tour tournament, the first one
pretty
ever.
Wild. You don't expect it. I mean, every one of my wins so far, it's not like I woke up that morning and was like, man, I'm going to win this tournament.
Because they're kind of comebacks.
Yeah, there's comebacks and just kind of weird, all of them are really comebacks. Sage is all over. Hey, we know you love everybody in this boat.
We know you're here, Sage.
Anything's possible in this sport,
doubt.
and it's pretty wild looking back and during those tournaments. You just didn't expect that. I didn't expect it to happen.
So crazy. At what moment did you ever think on that day at Conroe, because you had boat trouble, or motor trouble, so did you ever think at any point when they send a camera boat over to, did you kind of have because you do get a feeling.
You get a feeling.
You get a feeling. You knew it was a dang special day. Yeah.
I mean, starting out the day, having all the motor issues and stuff, and, the only guy I had out there with me was a friend of mine, Joe Mack, that takes pictures, and he was following me that day. And it was so cool to have him watch and see it unwind. But it was like, I had him, and then a couple hours later, I get another boat and another boat, and then there wasn't really that many people watching me that day. But Robbie Floyd, he was always the guy if he showed up.
Oh yeah.
He knew something was up, and that kind of gave me a feeling and some confidence too. Like, hey man, this could be. I need to keep doing work right here,
because in those tournaments, I mean, you don't know. I mean, talk a little bit about now though with the Bass Pro Tour format, and you're fishing that.
Yeah.
Does it make you fish different, knowing what everybody has? You personally, does it affect you in any way?
It really does. I mean, knowing what people have. I remember the one I won this year, the first one. Knowing what Edwin was doing, and knowing that I had a lead, and that was shrinking. At the end, I mean, it was getting lower and lower and lower, and I'm like, he's fixing to come back.
And you're watching 100 grand just
slip, and it gets you a little more pep in your step. I mean, you're always got that pep in your step in a tournament, and especially a final day or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, when people are catching them and you're not, or it definitely affects you.
No.
It affects the mental more than it does, how you're fishing. I mean, because you're like, is this going to be my time? And and you're just watching it unfold.
Does it ever rattle you, because you keep it together? You seem to keep it together really, really good. Does it ever throw you?
Well, the only time it throws you is if you are leading the tournament.
And they're coming.
Oh,
okay.
If you're behind and you're going, you're like, well, it may not be my day, whatever. But when you're, leading it, or you're in that first, second position probably, that's when it really kind of gets to you a little bit.
I can imagine.
And you're like, all right, I mean, it's either gonna happen or it's not. And you're fishing, you fish a little different.
So talk about how you met your bride, Kristen. When and where was the first time you saw her? Because you seem to be just following along and being buddies. You seem to be inseparable from the time you met her.
Oh yeah.
So you knew early on that she was the one for you, but when did you meet her?
So first time I saw Kristen was, I just got out of college, and I was fishing the Opens. I was fishing the one at Toho. It's my first one ever.
Okay.
And so Kristen, she worked for Power Pole, and so she was actually at the meeting, which she never did that, but for some reason that certain one, it was close to Tampa, where Power Pole's headquarters are, And she came to the meeting, and I saw her there, and I was like, man, she's pretty hot, you know. I was like, you know, I wasn't into them. I didn't have a relationship or nothing like that. But I'm just like, you know, she's hot, but she's probably got a boyfriend. It's not, you know, whatever. And I was Lucas, Justin. You know, me and Justin were rooming together with some other guys. And I was like, man, you know anybody from Power Pole? You know, I could kind of hit up and just
see her at a meeting. You're like, she's cute. She's cute. Do you know? And so you're asking around, does anybody know anybody at Power Pole? And Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas knew somebody there, and you know, I'm like trying to figure out her name and stuff. You know, that was the first step.
Yeah.
So I can, you know, Facebook
check.
her. Yeah. That was the most important thing. So I got her name, and I remember during the tournament, I don't even know if I cared anything about the tournament at the time. I was just like, all right, I got to check her out. You know, I'm not Google mapping the night before the tournament. I'm Facebooking.
You Facebook stalking.
Facebook stalk. So, you know, I Facebook stalk. Yeah, I Facebook stalk her. And so I could tell didn't think she had a boyfriend or whatever. So
through your investigative skills.
Yeah, and investigative skills on Facebook. Not that it really even mattered if she had a boyfriend. I was still going to probably message her and say, what's up? Yeah, sending it. No fear, you know. Fresh out of college. No fear.
Yeah. Full of bravado.
Yes,
ready
sir.
to go.
Yes, sir.
Down there flipping weights.
That's it.
Facebook stalking.
That's it. That's what I was doing. But yeah, I Facebook messaged her, and it was, you know, I remember asking her about we still laugh about it because we bring it up every year or two, thinking, you know, laughing about how I messaged her and I asked her for Power Pole t-shirt. I'm like, you know, you got any apparel you can send me and stuff like that?
Such a pro move too, by the way.
Pro move. Straight up looking for that sponsor.
On social media.
On social media.
Sliding in the DMs.
Yep.
Open with, I need a Power Pole t-shirt.
Yeah, and did not care about the Power Pole t-shirt at all. Didn't want one really. I probably would have sold it or whatever. She didn't send me one. But no, it was kind of funny about that. And then we talked a little bit, and then, you know, it petered out. But I remember I had like 10 followers at the time on Instagram. So anytime somebody followed me, I'd be able to see. And about a month later, she followed me, and I was like, she may think something. So we started talking, and you know, we eventually a couple months later got to hanging out and stuff.
That's like a modern day love story, because back in the day,
I know,
it's like, who is that? And you might not ever see her again, and you might not be able to find her, but now you just straight up stalk them. So here's the lesson, kids.
Yeah, here's the lesson.
If you find somebody you like,
stalk them.
Stalk the heck out of them. You might end up marrying them.
You may. It's usually how it works nowadays.
It is how it works.
Yeah.
It's definitely how it works. So how long have you guys been together? And you've only been married, what, a couple years, like 2017?
Yeah. So we actually started dating probably 4 or 5 months after that, or, you know, maybe not even that long. I mean, we started talking a little bit more a couple months later, and then, you know, we had a long distance relationship thing for a couple years, and then she eventually, you know, probably 2.5, 3 years later, moved up to Alabama, and we got a place together. And we got married, you know, a year and a half ago. And so we've been dating for, you know, 7 years or so.
What was your favorite Christmas gift as a kid?
Favorite Christmas gift as a kid? I got, probably the most memorable one was when I got my first Katoma rig. I remember getting it on Christmas.
Okay.
It was a Lumacraft. I think I had a 25 horsepower on it. Still actually have the boat to this day. I don't have it in my possession. Still got it. I mean, it was, that's what I fished on Katoma with. I remember getting that boat, man, and it was like, are you kidding me? Like, that was so awesome, getting that as a present. And yeah, it was, I fished a lot of little tournaments out of that.
You've got, your parents are awesome.
They are.
Like awesome.
Awesome. I mean, they, I owe more to them than anything, because they always supported me, man. They were always, you know, keeping me on the water. I mean, and that was huge to they could see it, you know, see that passion in me, and they always supported me.
Like a plant, man. They watered it.
They did.
And there it went. And
they did.
And that's all you can do. Now that I'm a parent, you'll know this one day, but that's all you can do, man, is try to help your kids as much as you can, and then send them in the world. And you and Matt have just gone out and done it, man.
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
What's up?
What are you doing? You're crazy. We're filming and then getting off this crazy place. Is that your new ride?
No, it's his.
That's sharp.
That's good.
Yeah, he just got one too. He couldn't stand it. I had a new one, so he had to go buy one. And he had to buy a faster one too.
That's fat. Which one? Which model is that?
Yo,
The Era.
you want to race?
Okay. Yeah, we'll line them up. We can see what it'll do. That's about all she's got. Oh yeah.
She's won.
Oh. You want to run up the Gainesville Dam?
Let's do it. Making him long run. I gotta get home like 30 miles from here.
Yeah.
There's the bird. There's the bird.
Sage is like, please put me under the console. It's cold.
Oh, she'll roll around. Oh, she'll roll around, waller around.
Say any day that the Cherokee comes back to the ramp's a good day.
The Cherokee has made its maiden voyage for Luke Duncan.
You run a Ranger aluminum now and a Ranger glass, and to know just how far aluminum boats have came in that short
wild.
amount of time is nuts. Dude.
It is nuts, man. I mean, it's crazy just, you know, the new glass boat I have. I mean, it's just...
It's like a rocket ship compared to this.
It's a rocket ship, but you know, what's still cool looking back on, you know, you said this is a 96 model, and we're out there riding in it, and how good it rides.
I know.
I mean, and they still ride. I mean, the ride's gotten better, of course, over time, but we're impressed with how good it was 20 years ago.
I know. And the thing is, though, we're talking about your history. You started in a little aluminum boat.
Yeah.
And guess what? All you kids out there watching, you don't have to have an $80,000 bass boat to go catch a bass. You need you some aluminum. You need you a Abu Garcia.
You need
no Fluger presidents anymore.
No.
But you need just rod and reels, some baits, and
That's
go
it.
fishing. Do this because you love it.
Yeah.
And this guy is a living example of if you love something and you put your mind to it and work hard.
You don't have to have the coolest stuff, and you know, this will get you to them. That's all you need to do. You need to find them, get to them,
catch them,
and catch them,
and have fun.
And have fun, yeah.
And you might be the champ.
Or better.
Or better. Be you, right?
Yeah, be you.
That's the thing.
No
but
doubt.
Pretty awesome, dude. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Luke.
Jordan Lee, you're
Had
the
a good
man.
time.
Boats and pros.